Hi folks, welcome to another edition of the Barley Boys. We've crossed the inlet over the Ironworkers Memorial Bridge to North Vancouver.
Yeah, we're here at Bridge Brewing, one of the more successful nano breweries. Now, it used to be a nano brewery, but now we can't call them that anymore. They're hugely successful, they're growing, and I think they found their niche.
Yeah, 1448 Charlotte Street in North Vancouver. We're going to be talking to Leigh and Jason Stratton, the owners of the place, as well as Jeremy Taylor, who's the head brewer. So why don't we go inside, Garry, and talk to those folks and have some samples.
It's going to be Jeremy, Jason, Leigh.
Yeah.
I think I dated a woman in Hollywood that name.
Lucky you.
Anyway, yeah, let's go.
Okay. So I'm here with Leigh and Jason Stratton, owners of Bridge Brewing Company in North Vancouver. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming.
Glad to be here. Always interested and happy to visit the craft breweries around town. So one of the interesting things, or one of the things that we're trying to accomplish, Garry and myself, as the Brewery Boys, is kind of tell the backstory of where the folks came from, how they got started, and that kind of stuff. So what were you doing before Bridge Brewing?
I was an accountant in Calgary.
An accountant?
Yeah, working at the desk, driving the desk as I call it, and I got tired of that and wanted to do something different and have my own business. And wanted to do something local and challenging, and so we moved back to where we originally grew up in North Vancouver and started the brewery. It started, I wanted to do a brewery, but Leigh didn't. So I bought this really a pilot brewing system and ordered it and had it delivered to the house. And it sat in the garage for a little while, and then Leigh slowly warmed up to the idea, and then we decided to start really small because at that time, 3 years ago, or this was 4 years ago, at the beginning of the planning, there wasn't really many places at all to fill a growler, or any places that weren't sort of a brew pub. That it wasn't really the, it was an afterthought more than an actual part of the business. So in our original business plan, actually, we didn't even think of growlers. We just thought we'd make some beer and see if we could sell it.
Did you know what a growler was at that point in time?
No. Actually I didn't. Like when I first decided to do the brewery, I actually put an ad on Craigslist from Calgary before I even moved back for someone to come. And we ended up getting someone who'd worked in a local brewery for a few years, and they wrote us, helped do some consulting and wrote this actual 3-page document that I still refer to as the Bible of opening a brewery. So neither of us had any experience in brewing, making beer, working in a brewery, anything like that. We had experience drinking beer. And that's what kind of started it all.
How about yourself, Leigh?
I come from a hotel background.
Okay.
So for me, it's all about the experience, and that's why the brewery is open air. And we want people to come into the tasting room, try our beers, see the brewer, see the bottling line, and create more of an experience rather than just a transaction.
So as opposed to pub atmosphere, you want this to be sort of an experience where people actually can see what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah. I think we knew it was this difficult. We actually met with a friend who owned a couple of pubs, and they said, don't do it. That's the stupidest thing. Beer is so competitive, the government's so challenging, do not do it. And then when Jason and I went home that night, he looked at me and said, we're doing it. Because someone said, don't do it, you can't do it. So that was really what gave us the challenge and the motivation. We knew it would be really hard. It's an extremely challenging industry, dealing with the government, the financial constraints with everything. But it's so much fun, so that's what makes it even more rewarding.
You mentioned something in terms of competitiveness. I looked at some of the stuff online in terms of your description of Bridge Brewing, etc., and talked about being in a competitive market. I mean, is it a really competitive? I know there's lots of craft breweries, but I mean, you're competing with each other. But is that add sort of excitement to it?
It's competitive. Definitely competitive with other craft breweries, but we're firm believers that because of the volume of craft breweries, it's increasing the market for everybody. So we're competing against Molson and the big guys and trying to secure taps from them. And the more craft taps that become available, the more there is for everybody.
Okay.
So although we're competing essentially with the other small breweries, it's all of us working together to try to increase the market share of people drinking. But when we first started out, people weren't interested in a tap with us. So we have Granville Island, that's craft. And now they're calling us and we're going in, and those taps are disappearing and they're becoming bridge taps.
So, as the industry grows, then the ability to get into those places is
So much
improving.
easier.
But you will be competing against all those other ones that are trying to sell it to those places
Oh,
as
for
well.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in the last few months we've noticed that it is getting more competitive. But the market's so big, and craft breweries still take up such a small part of it, that I think there's a long way to go before
Yeah. Yeah, I think Portland has something like 200 just in the city of Portland alone, craft breweries. So
I've heard that
40%?
40% of the
really,
market is craft
and what are we?
beer, 18, 20.
Okay, so we still got a ways to go there.
Yeah.
Well, I've noticed that you've really done a great job with your tasting room. It's got real comfort in here, even though you're still like in a warehouse area. So, so that's what I guess part of your strategy was when you first developed that you were going to have a nice, comfortable, like interesting experience for a beer drinker. But now it looks like you've gone beyond that. I mean, you've got the bottling and your distribution's increased. Is this you gotten to the point where you're beyond what you ever dreamt?
I don't know if whatever we dreamt, but definitely our business plan. Our business plan was to hire the first employee in 5 years. We're 3 years in and we're at 12 employees already.
Wow.
So that's definitely catapulted us forward. But for us, we always wanted our customers to come in and know who we are. And we know most of our regulars, first name. If you come in on a Friday night, they know all of our names, we know their names. And that's what we want to really be, is part of the community and have people come in and know who we are as a brewery and be able to try all of our beer and say, oh, I really like this one and this one's my favorite, so that they can go through, rather than having to buy 12 different bottles, you can come in and sample the different beers and then select what you like.
Yeah. Just a question, because I get asked this a lot, when people know that we're doing this kind of project, basically, that there's so many craft breweries and sort of the size of the things. Is there a desire to grow bigger than this, or is this kind of where you want to stay for the next little while?
I think for the next 3 to 5 years we're here. You know, after building a brewery there, which was small, and then building a brewery here, that's 2 breweries in 2 3 years. And just, it's still too fresh in my mind to talk about that again. I think this is kind of like having kids, you forget after a couple of years and have another one. But yeah, no, it's still too fresh. It's challenging. It's, you know, things that you can't plan for in advance. It's financially constraining, and growing a brewery requires more and more capital. So,
right,
you know, at some point, it'd be nice if the money started going back out instead of in. It's still going in.
So, are you guys at pretty well at capacity here then in terms of being able to produce beer?
I think we're probably at 60-70%.
Okay, so there's still room for.
Yeah, and what we've tried to do is provide more styles of beer. I think just for that experience as well. We have, I'm looking over at the board there, but 9 beers available by the glass line, 8 beers right now. So at the other location, sometimes it was one beer.
Wow.
And one Christmas, no beer. So.
Well, interesting story. I'm glad you're here and things are going well by the sounds of it, and people are enjoying the beer. But I think since we're talking about beer, maybe it's time to actually get Jeremy to give us some samples and tell us what he's doing back there.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right. Thanks again. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay, we're here with Jeremy Taylor, head brewer at Bridge Brewing Company. Hi, Jeremy.
Hey, how you doing?
And before we get started with these, maybe you can just tell us kind of what you do have on tap here, sort of the variety of things you have, because you've got a lot.
Yeah, we've got quite a bit. I think we've got 9 or 10 different beers on tap at the moment. We've got our core brand, and we always try to have our core beers on tap here. So the Kolsch, the Pale Ale, the IPA, and the Stout. And then we also like to keep it exciting, having a bunch of seasonals here too. So some of the seasonals are available at select bars and restaurants around town, and some of them, basically, this is the only place to find them. So it keeps it exciting for us as brewers to not be just brewing a pale ale every day, and it makes it exciting for the customers that come on by, and gives them a reason to pop by the brewery and see what we've got here.
Well, that's the whole point of these kind of craft breweries, is to be able to have some different kinds of styles.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and entice them to come by the brewery and get it fresh on tap. It's I mean, a couple of these we just pegged off yesterday, so it doesn't get much fresher than that.
Yeah, exactly. So
So, Jeremy, you got some interesting beers here. You got a wide variety, different type selections. Maybe we can go through and you can talk about these.
Yeah, for sure. So I've arranged your flights here from lighter to darker.
Okay.
The light is I'm throwing you guys for a little bit of a curveball right away. It's not a lager or a pilsner or anything. This is a Berliner Weisse. We did just keg this one off yesterday, so it's super fresh. It's a kettle soured German beer, and so it does have quite a bit of tartness. I find it drinks a little bit more like a cider would, so it's quite light and crisp, and I find it's perfect for the warm weather. And it's only 1.8% too, so you can have a few and you guys will be safe to drive.
So a true session.
Yeah, definitely a session beer. Napoleon's troops called it the Champagne of the North, so it does have quite an effervescent champagne-y type thing going on.
Wow.
A bit different.
Yeah, that's
not
really...
your standard heavy ale or anything.
I like that. And it is different.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. We do. Last time we brewed it, we had some syrups to go with it. The traditional way of serving it in Germany is with different syrups. I'm actually just sourcing some Woodruff, which is a ground cover herb type thing that we made into a syrup last time. My Woodruff person is out of town at the moment, so I'm gonna have to go foraging for some. But that gives a really interesting earthiness and stuff. And we had a raspberry and a blueberry syrup last time as well.
Now, when you say
so.
syrup, you add it to it?
Yeah, you just pour it right into the glass as you try it, and it's not brewed with it. You don't add it. Then it's right as you serve it, and that cuts some of that tartness too, and kind of rounds it out a little bit.
Very refreshing.
Yeah,
Nice.
Nice. It's a good warm weather beer anyway. You wouldn't want that in February or something like that, but it's good
And like
this
you
time
said,
of year.
Gary, your wife wouldn't kick your ass if you drank a whole bunch of it.
Exactly.
Actually, I've managed to get my 93-year-old grandmother drinking that one. She quite likes it. So,
Perfect.
It's something. It's a gateway sour. I find some sour beers are a bit too intense, a bit much for people, and this one is definitely more approachable than some. And it'll get you.
Out of all the sours I've had, this is my favorite.
Oh, good. Oh, great. Glad to hear it.
Absolutely.
So the next one is our raspberry ISA that you requested. So this one we put 70 kilos of raspberries into the fermenter, into one of our big fermenters in the back there. Yeah, and it's compared to a lot of other raspberry beers you get out there, it definitely has a lot more hoppiness to it because it is an ISA. So we've got a fair bit of bitterness we use Magnum hops for bittering, and then Cascade and Centennial hops for our aroma to go with that as well.
So are flavored beers really popular in these days?
You mean fruit flavor?
Fruit flavors, yeah.
Yeah, I think especially this time of year, they seem to be quite popular. People are looking for something that's crisp and drinkable on a patio somewhere. Maybe not so much in the dead of winter again, but for this time of year.
Like you say, fall and winter. I've had some pumpkin ales and that kind of stuff. Initially, they taste really good, but after a while, it becomes kind of cloying.
I find you can't have more than one anyway of the pumpkin beers. They can be a bit heavy.
But this is, I like this. This is really nice. Again, it's got some tartness to it.
Pretty typical Pacific Northwest style pale ale. So we've got a good hit of bitterness at the beginning from Magnum hops. Again, just a really clean bittering hop. And then we use Cascade hops throughout the rest of it. It's got late hop additions from Cascade, and then it's also dry hops with Cascade. So you're going to get a fair bit of citrus in there, and a little bit of pininess too. This one just took the gold medal for Pale Ale at the Vancouver International Craft Brewing Awards.
Nice.
Magazine.
It is. And again, such a contrast to the
Yeah.
other two, but very smooth.
Yeah, I didn't want to keep you guys too close in our range, or just at the dark, or just at the light. I wanted to spread it out a little
Definitely
bit.
a variety of different styles and flavors here.
Yeah, and as I said, it keeps it interesting for us brewers too to be able to make some different beers.
So just an interesting question in terms of styles. Who gets to choose? Would you deviate from sort of the core? Who gets to choose?
It's usually up to me. I always run it by Jason and Leigh, of course. I wouldn't want to do something that's totally outrageous. And but no, they're fantastic. Actually, they give me a great range to do basically whatever I want within reason. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. And of course, I chat with the other brewers too and see what they feel like brewing too.
Okay.
And get some creative input from them. And
So what do you find is probably your most popular or the one that you sell most of?
I think the pale ale.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of our core ones, and yeah, we definitely sell the most in bottles and in kegs for that. And that's one of the ones that we do bottle. We don't bottle all of our beers. We occasionally will bottle one of our seasonals, like the Raspberry ISA is bottled. But the Berliner Weisse isn't, and we've got a blonde ale that isn't either. But yeah, we definitely sell the most of the pale ale.
The pale ale is nice.
Yeah, it's understandable because it's not scary.
Yeah, exactly.
Smooth,
very
flavorful,
approachable.
Solid.
Yeah, solid, exactly.
And then finally in the lineup here we have our All Out Stout. This got a silver medal at our wedged it in there too.
You're making me work for this.
Exactly. Can't make it easy on you guys.
No beer for you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, this one got a silver medal at the Vancouver International Craft Brewing Awards, and it just got a gold medal at the North American Brewing Awards for
Where was that?
best stout. That's held in Colorado, I believe.
Okay.
They do their beer in Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good breweries there.
really good beer.
Yeah, Brewers.
Yeah.
Sorry. I shouldn't.
Yeah, don't even joke.
So I find for a stout, this one isn't too thick and cloying. It's pretty drinkable. There are some oats in that do give a little bit of texture, a little bit of mouthfeel in that.
That's nice.
Yeah. So a fair bit of chocolate flavor in there, a little bit of coffee, but not too much bitterness from that coffee.
And what's the alcohol content of that?
That one is 5.5.
That's pretty.
I should double check that. Yeah. 5% even. I should know that. When we have 9 different things up there,
That's right.
I can never remember them all. I always have to look at the board.
And what's that?
That's 5.5.
5?
Yeah. 3.8 for the raspberry and 1.8.
Very nice. I like it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My growler's getting filled. Well, thank you, Jeremy.
Not a problem.
Cheers.
Yes, cheers. Yeah. Great selection. Lots of variety and very smooth and easy to drink. So can't ask for more.
I'm glad you guys like it.
Super. Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much.
Well, Pat, I think Bridge Brewing's given us a reason to cross the bridge and come on over to the North Shore. They've got a terrific little brewery here, growing, successful brewery with a lot of different beer styles and flavors.
Yeah, it was nice having an opportunity to talk to Jeremy, the head brewer here, and tell us the varieties that they've got. They've got about 8 that they have on tap at any given time. Some of their core stuff, but also some really interesting ones like that 1.8% Berliner Weisse, which was really, really nice.
It was. They've got a great little tasting room here. As I understand, it gets really popular on weekends. So yeah, well, come by and check it out. What do you think?
I think if you want to tag along, we'll come over here with the wives and do that. What do you think?
I'm with you.
Okay.
All right. Well, remember to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yep.
Barley Boys 604.
See you next time.